or to the naked eye.
Khamenei was killed because uranium enrichment and the Iranian desire to make a bomb.
That expertise is there. People know how to enrich it. There are infrastructure which can again be rebuilt.
Iran today is headless. There is transition, but conclusion is far away.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
The war in West Asia is sending shockwaves through India's energy lifeline. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, India's energy lifeline is under serious threat. But how will this impact you? Hello and welcome. You're watching In Your Interest. I am Krishna Kumar. Iranian drone strikes have hit key Qatari energy facilities at Ras Laffan and Mesaid. As a result, Qatar has suspended all LNG or liquefied natural gas operations. Restarting them would take weeks, maybe even longer. LNG tankers are now unable to safely cross the all-important Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's energy supplies pass through, especially all of the LNG. QatarEnergy has declared force majeure on its exports. Now, bear in mind, Qatar is not a small player. It supplies about 20% of the world's LNG. For India, the numbers are even bigger. Qatar meets roughly 40 to 45% of our LNG imports. Qatar is our largest supplier, followed by the UAE. More than half of India's total LNG comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Even though the UAE facilities were not attacked, shipping risks have already slowed down their exports as well. And the ripple effect is already being felt here at home in India. Petronet, India's largest LNG importer, shares dropped 12% today. And the company too has invoked force majeure because of unsafe conditions in the Hormuz route. Notices have gone out to GAIL, or Gas Authority of India Limited, IOCL, or Indian Oil Corporation Limited, and BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Limited. Contracted LNG supplies are being cut down. This means supply to gas distributors could be reduced by 10 to 30%. City gas companies like MGL, IGL and Gujarat Gas also saw their stocks tumble. India has about nearly 33 crore or 32.8 crore to be precise LPG connections this year as of now, and higher LNG prices are now expected to push up PNG and CNG costs as well, which means households may get some short-term subsidy protection, but commercial LPG prices are likely to rise first. Non-subsidized cylinder prices may go up. Refill delays are possible if alternate supplies do not come in time. Bakeries, street food stalls and restaurants could see their costs increase, which means higher bills for all of us. CNG and LPG used in autos may also become a little more expensive. The fertilizer industry is also staring at trouble because LNG is the main feedstock for making urea. There is a 2-month buffer stock, but any delay beyond that could hit the coming monsoon sowing season. Urea shortages would affect farm output and, in turn, our own food security. Higher energy costs across industries could push up inflation and slow down manufacturing. the country's import bill may rise, widening the current account deficit. Now, the Indian government is moving quickly. It is in touch with global oil and gas supplies, including Russia. And sources say there is no immediate supply disruption. India has about 50 days of petroleum and gas reserves. Petronet, GAIL, and IOC have already floated spot LNG tenders, and they are looking for cargoes from the US, Australia, and Russia. Spot LNG prices have jumped to nearly $25 per MMBTU, almost double the normal contract rates. Tanker freight rates have surged to double, again, $200,000 a day. Supplies from the US are limited and shipping is costly, ladies and gentlemen. Emergency US cargoes may reach India only by the month of April. Russian cargoes closer to our shores are being seen as a possible backup. So the big questions that we're asking tonight: how fast can India line up enough alternate LNG supplies before the reserves run low or run out? With US supplies weeks away and expensive, will India pivot even more sharply towards Russian energy despite the complex geopolitical optics? We have Ujjwal Singh Bhatia, former ambassador to the WTO and former chairman WTO appellate body, joining us. Thank you so much. We have R.S. Sharma, former chairman and managing director of the ONGC. Thank you so much for being with us. Air Marshal VPS Rana, defense and geopolitical expert. Thank you all of you for taking time out to be with us here on In Your Interest on News9. Ujjwal Singh Bhatia, the first concern the moment war breaks out in today's world is always about energy. It continues, and right now it is hitting far too close home. The war is coming closer. You have an Iranian frigate being blown up in the Indian Ocean, and it's going to hit closer home in all of our homes, the food on our plate.
Yes, the war is coming nearer us. These are difficult times. The first order of priority is to ensure that our supply chains are intact somehow or the other. And that's a difficult call. But I'm sure with the kind of reserve that we have for oil, as well as the alternatives that we have, including the Russia route, the government can ensure availability, though obviously everybody will have to share the increased costs. And for LNG, of course, it's a little more difficult because we are depending so much on Qatar LNG, but alternative supply lines are possible. So overall, I would say difficult times, but something that can be managed. But what we don't know as of now is how long this war will continue.
Yeah.
And depending on that, we will need to make our alternative plans. But beyond the issue of groceries as such, there is an issue of fertilizer. And for a very large part of our fertilizer industry depends on ammonia from the Gulf, depends on DAP from the Gulf, and so on. So I think we have reason to be worried, but at the same time, I think it is possible that we will work out alternatives.
We need to work out alternatives. R.S. Sharma, not the first time India is faced with such a situation. Do you think this time around, especially because we have no idea how long this war could last, and knowing the fact that we have 50 days worth of supplies only, we are better positioned today, possibly because we have diversified our energy supplies today more than ever before?
I feel we need not get unduly perturbed.
Okay.
You have rightly raised that issues which are causing the difficulties, challenges, and Ambassador Bhatia has very rightly put up how that has to be managed. But I can only tell you my own experiences. We have seen much more difficult times. When I was heading ONGC in 2007, crude oil prices had touched $155 a barrel. Today, nobody is thinking or talking on those terms. And I can only tell you, situation got very comfortably managed by the government. Difficult times will have to call for difficult decisions. That message you must give very clearly to your viewers. that this is unprecedented time, first time ever this Strait of Hormuz has been closed. So I can only share you this thing that the government is entirely seized of the issue, and the contingency plans they are already making. The issue of priorities will have to be set in case the supplies do not improve. They will have to set the priorities, the domestic cooking, LPG, and the PNG, that will have to be ensured. And then they have to prioritize that which are the sectors which need to be given the immediate priority. And I'm afraid, in case it continues, some of our critical sectors like agriculture, they may have to suffer also. But it is a question of creating awareness. I'm sure my own assessment is this is not going to last more than a week or 10 days.
Yeah.
Both the sides are ending their armaments, and behind the scene, curtain, the lot of parlays are going on. The countries like China, Russia, Iran itself, 40% of their exports, their entire exports goes through Strait of Hormuz. They won't be able to close it. It's a temporary phase, and I'm sure some solution will get me within the matter of days. Otherwise, crude oil prices would have already spiked to 3-digit level. But they are comfort somewhere. I am comforted. The situation will get eased. There will be some resolutions coming within the next, definitely within a week.
Okay. Air Marshal VPS Rana, R. Sharma believes that there will be a solution within a week, and there's a good chance that this war cannot go on for too long. It's not going to end tomorrow. But right now, would you say that with the way it is going right now, we are still very well positioned to tackle any exigencies?
Thank you, Krishna. I think I fully agree with both my co-panelists that while we need to worry, but we don't need to worry much as of now, the way things stand. But the fact is, this is the first time now the war has started entering our kitchen. Till now it had only entered our drawing rooms. Now it has started entering our kitchen. So there is a need to worry. We have a huge population to satisfy. So our challenges are much more than any other country. So that we must be wary about. Another factor that I am a little worried about is the remittances from the lot of our people who are working in Gulf region. The remittance also has a direct impact on the PM families back home. Their job also is also at a stake. So there could be job losses. And I only hope that it does not go beyond 1 or 2 weeks, because then the moment you have curtailment of all these supplies, you have long queues coming on to the petrol pumps, and curtailment of CNGs and LPGs and then the things start worrying, because we are a country. Till the time everything is fine, it's okay. But the moment there are lines, the moment there are shortages, then that crowd management becomes a security issue. So I just hope we don't reach that level. We don't reach there. Of course, the long-term impacts are going to be there. It is going to have a direct impact on our GDP in a long term. But the efficient governance, like Mr. Sharma said, is the key. And I'm sure the government is working. There's continuous phone calls to all the countries. And one point that we need to keep in mind, that the Iran also has a lot of dependency on this. So even their economy is going to be impacted if they are going to take it far too long. So that is something that possibly will give us hope that they are not going to continue this for too long. That's one part. Secondly, the America is also now constantly depleting their military power. So we just hope that the Iran military power is reduced to a level where it does not become so powerful that you could stop anybody using the Strait of Hormuz. And we have already started seeing that the China vessels are also already being permitted. I'm sure India is in a good, friendly relationship with Iran. Maybe if through the normal dialogues, possibly even the Indian flagged vessels would be permitted in due course. So we hope that things would improve positively within a week, and if not week, at least the 2 weeks. But if it goes beyond that, then it is a sign of worry for all of us.
Okay. Mr. Ujjwal Singh Bhatia, talk to us. What happens if this war extends beyond 2 weeks? Then what happens?
Well, as my friends have said, I think the last thing we should do is to panic. India has faced such situations. Oil is still within 2 digits and not 3 digits. And the situation as of now is fully manageable, and the government has the ability and resources to do so. Now, you asked me what happens if the war continues beyond, let us say, 3-4 weeks. I think alternative supply lines for our energy needs are available. The cost is another matter. We may have to pay up a bit more, but both for oil and gas, it should be possible to develop alternative supply lines. The Russia supply line is still active, and I think it can be re-energized. And beyond that,
before you go any further, I really want to ask that. So if again we're going to be pushed towards Russia, we already negotiated a trade deal with the US on the promise that we won't be buying energy supplies from Russia.
I think well-being of the citizenry is the first priority of any government, and diplomacy can come later.
Okay. Fair enough. R. Sharma, would you say that if push comes to shove, say if the war were to extend beyond 2 to 3 weeks, then India will be pivoting towards Russian LNG supplies?
Well, at this moment, I would only say we'll cross the bridge when we reach it. But as of now, the situation is not something that needs to create panic. And let's see. I don't think it will get that long. If that really goes, look at Korea, look at Japan, look at Iran itself. Every other country, they are in a sort of crisis mode. They import 10 million barrels a day of crude oil, and 40% of that comes through the Strait of Hormuz from Iran. So Iran has also to certain diplomatic relations they have with them. We are also having diplomatic good relations with Iran also. So we will be able to, I can only tell you my own experience. Like I mentioned, they have been earlier more challenging times. They got managed. I am 100% sure currently also this situation will get managed. It will be difficulty, but the issue will be the responsibility of the news channels to create the right kind of awareness amongst the viewers. These are unprecedented times, so unprecedented decisions may be coming, so one has to prepare for that.
Unprecedented times will call for unprecedented decisions. Air Marshal VPS Rana, it is not just the LPG and the cooking cylinders that are under a matter of concern. It is the urea, the ingredients into the urea as well. Sowing season is coming up. It is India's agricultural output is going to be crucial for its own GDP growth. It cannot afford any shortfall. There have been urea shortfalls before, but this is not a time where we can afford one.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. But the point is, like I said earlier, that is where the effective governance comes into play. We created these storages not very far long back. Earlier we had these issues, we faced these issues earlier times, and that is how, in that great foresight, we created the kind of reserves that is actually coming to good use now. So similarly, we have seen these challenges earlier, and I'm sure the people at the helm are looking at this. They are going to manage, and like we said, we have done it earlier. We will do it now. Coming to your question of Russia, I think we've had great relations with Russia. If need be, I think there is no two ways that we can always go back to them, and I don't think we can diplomatically handle US. We have handled them earlier as well.
And that's really the point over here, isn't it, Mr. Ujjal Singh Bhatia? Things have changed now. The conditions under which the trade deal was struck was one, and then now conditions have completely changed. You have a US, which is the aggressor in this war, that has in fact created this situation for India, and India has bargaining rights.
Well, the situation has changed, but India's strategic interests remain the same. And the strategic interests are based on what is best for our country and its people. So we will decide, and I think other issues we can handle through diplomacy.
Other issues can be handled through diplomacy. The other question is also the fact that Strait of Hormuz is now closed for all ships, including the US, Europe, and Israeli ships. It is not just India's energy supplies that get hit, but it is the overall, shipping routes that's going to, affect trade in India and India's own growth and India's own inflation, isn't it, Mr. R. Sharma?
Sorry, I was a little distracted. Can you repeat, please?
Mr. R. Sharma, the Strait of Hormuz is right now shut for ships from US, Israel, and Europe as well. India, for India, it is not just important trade route for oil and energy supplies to come through. It's an important trading route as well. This is a situation that affects India, not in terms of just energy lifeline, but the overall cost of things that get made in India and push the inflation up further.
Yeah, absolutely right. I agree with you. The day this Qatar announced that they are closing their LNG facility in Europe, the gas prices went up by 30%. So please take it. It is not only we will suffer, the entire the globe, the world around the globe. They are all going to suffer for this, because this is, nobody could visualize this sort of situation, and everybody would have been trying somehow to balance the situation. Here the prices will go up. Definitely we will go up. And that we have to brace ourselves that this is a kind of situation, it has to be met as the reality before us. But I'm sure government will do the best possible, whatever can be done. At least I'm comfortable. I have seen, as I mentioned, these kind of situation, $155 barrel price that got managed.
Clearly.
I don't have time to explain how that got managed.
Fair enough. We get your point. We get your point, R.S. Sharma. Air Marshal VPS Rana's a very, very fair point is made and reiterated. The fact that, we're not under $120 a barrel or $150 a barrel. We're talking about a 70, 80. This is still a very comfortable range in which we're working with. And, let me repeat myself again. The fact that our energy supplies today are far more diversified than what they were when previous wars struck the world and paralyzed the world. But, of course, the clock is ticking, isn't it? Air Marshal VPS, not one way or the other. The clock is ticking. Qatari production has been shut down. It will take weeks for it to be restarted. We're already started. Indian companies or gas companies already floating spot LNG tenders already. So for now, there will be short-term disruption one way or the other. The hope is that it gets ironed out eventually over the course of the next few weeks.
Absolutely. Another point that I want to make is that it is a bigger worry for European countries than it is for us as of now. We have alternatives. If you see, the Russia already have indicated that it is a time to stop gas supply to Europe. And you would see that the after effect of that comment that was made by Russia is that you have all these people now joining war. You have the Spain sending the frigate, you have Italy joining the war with sending the air defense thing. You have France coming in, you have UK coming in, which all these people in the initial stages were not joining war. So that is the indication that it is a very, very serious business for Europe and everybody else, including America. So they would want to go all hog out. My only worry is Iran trying to tire them out? If that be so, because he has the capability, Iran has the capacity and capability to tire out their air defense efforts. And should Iran succeed in that and extend it beyond, say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks period, then we are looking at a long haul, and then I think we need to be worried. But as of now, like my co-panelist said, we have alternatives, and we should be ironing out everything that is there for us to iron out right now.
Okay, we have the wherewithal to iron things out. Ujjwal Singh Bhatia, the question that on many people's minds is also that, is this all an effort to reframe global energy trade one way or the other and redirect India's sourcing more towards the US? Is that, do you see that happening?
I would not like to speculate on the motives for this war, but let me say that India also should derive its own lessons. A reliance of 85% or so for our energy needs, for our oil needs, is unsustainable. And I think we need to develop more and more energy alternatives, including green energy, and also our strategic petroleum reserves. That is a very good concept. We have done very well in developing that. We need to increase its capacity much more than what it is present. So I think overall our supply chain resilience needs to be developed further, and I think that is the biggest lesson we should draw from this crisis.
More self-reliance, R. Sharma, isn't that the biggest lesson possible whenever a crisis like this strikes?
Well, that's a much bigger issue to discuss. If you have time, you give me 15 minutes time, I'll explain everything.
Okay, if I were to ask for a short summary, a short 30-second take.
Look, Europe doesn't have any hydrocarbons. They import everything. Japan, Korea. It's not that we alone are in that situation. There are other countries as well. So, we are not endowed with hydrocarbon reserves that much. Our energy needs today, our per capita energy consumption is just 1/3 of the global average. The energy security scenario is quite grim. Outlook is quite grim. That's a much larger debate, and a lot has been happening.